Hello, this is Deb Paradise, and I am the Tattooed Buddhist. How may I enlighten your day? Welcome to our conscious conversation. Today, I'd like to talk about blooming. Yes, folks, it's time to bloom. As some of you know, it has been suggested that I try my hand at writing poetry. Well, I don't know about how great poetry is written, but I'm having some great fun putting together words each month, and so here is my poem for tonight. Time to bloom. Urgent whispers crowd my mind. Alone I conceive my plight, to ease my essence from midnight sleep and open my wings to the dawning light. From inert seed to tight-wound bud, my life force surges forth. Lotus springing from the mud, as potent form is birthed. I burst from swaddled essence, heeding whispers calling clear. My true form readies in the now, to bloom beyond my fear. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. You know, Tattooed Buddhist is a late bloomer. Well, at least my mother always told me I was a late bloomer. Actually, I have been in the process of blooming for most of my adult life. I have bloomed again and again. I have planted my seeds, gestated, emerged, and bloomed many times in the course of becoming who I am today. No straight path for me, no siree bob. My journey has taken me in many directions and on many detours, but always headed for the same destination. To discover my best me and to create my best life and to evolve and transcend myself again and again. Over and over, we are called to create an environment in which we can bloom. Our lives are a constant choice between trying to fulfill others' expectations of who we are and what we should be, and also learning how to step beyond our external pressures to become our most authentic self, and also to live our most authentic life. In order to do this, we seek to understand who we are and what we must do to become that person we know we really are. Life is like riding a pendulum at an amusement park. We're swinging through the evolution of transcendence, back and forth, back and forth. When we're born, we begin with a seed of the truth that we are. Then we grow, and our tender, vulnerable seedling emerges. We slowly gain size and strength, and eventually we begin to get a hint of our true form. Our true personalities are revealed. We are readying ourselves for ultimate expression, that moment when we bloom and reveal our most amazing self in all of our true glory. Just like our favorite perennials, ours is not a one-time opening. We are blessed to bloom, reseed, bloom, and bloom again. Each time we bring our newfound experiences and knowledge with us, creating new truths, discovering new expressions, and blooming into beautiful new blossoms. Each new incarnation is unique and individual. This is life. This is nature at its best, that we arrive again and again at our moment of expression, and then ready ourselves to begin anew. Okay, so I have to play with some words here. Well, one word. Incarnation. Is that a kind of carnation? It must be a blooming carnation. I just love it when I find words inside of words. Anyway, in life, as in nature, there is an element of this, the cycle of life that is beyond thought, it's beyond consciousness, and it is definitely beyond our control. We have will, we learn, we exercise self-determination, and the business of life is alive with new possibilities. And think of the amazing synergy that happens when we add the essence of divine providence and potential to the mix. Now, the moment of blooming is a very potent moment. This is the time when we show ourselves as we truly are. We open completely, no holding back, every nuance of color and form, Every nuance of personality and beingness is revealed. We open to show ourselves to all who will see. Suddenly, we are vulnerable to everything. We are risking the elements, criticism, rejection, and yes, even pests. We stand up, giving it everything we have to give. Our moment might only last a few minutes, a few hours, or a few days. The full expression of our blooming is a lifetime's work, and by that, I mean that everything that has happened up to that moment in your life is where you have come to create this particular bloom. The energy of blooming is different from the energy of becoming ready to bloom. It is the energy of culmination. It draws upon all of our experiences leading up to this moment, and it fuses them into one big burst of energy. This burst is akin to the energy it takes a rocket to escape the Earth's gravitational pull. Once we have burst forth into full bloom, there is a sweet moment of fulfillment that cannot be faked or synthesized. And it is true that it cannot be held on to or frozen in time. It is fleeting, as is life and love and every other wonderful part of life. And blooming is definitely part of a cycle. First you have to plant a seed, then the seed must break through its shell, then the little growing thing has to fight its way up through the muck to the light. Then, tender and vulnerable, it has to lift its head up above the protective layer. When it hits the surface, it starts drinking in so much light and water and nourishment so that it can have enough energy to grow up through all of its maturing. And finally, it arrives at its moment, a tightly packed bud, ready to open to the world. How does it know the exact moment to open? And what is that final message that it receives, that it says, now, bloom now, now is the time? I think each of us has that knowing within us. If we learn to listen, if we learn to pay attention to that prompting, we know the exact second that we're ready to open and bloom in our newest incarnation. And then after the bloom, what then? Often we'll hit a lull, or we'll even hit a trough or a depression and feel lost for a little while after the blooming. We just really don't know what to do with ourselves. We don't know whether we should create harvest right at the moment of bloom and pluck that flower and put it in a vase, or pluck all of the nutrition out of it, or whatever it is that we're needing to take from that particular bloom cycle. We don't know. Perhaps we should let it just stay on the vine, so to speak, and allow it to go to seed. Because when we form new seeds, it takes all of the old information with it and brings that forward into the new cycle of growth and blooming. And then sometimes we just plow it under and let it become fertilizer in the soil, so that when we do drop another seed in, it has a lot of rich nutrients to feed on. So we can go a variety of ways there. It just depends on what feels right in that moment. And again, that's your own internal signal, your own internal knowing about which way to go there. Now, the blooming process is a great analogy for your spiritual growth. Self-cultivation starts with the question, who am I? Cultivation is a necessary part of harvest. The seedling begins the journey from who am I to who have I become. The mystery of the cycle of life unfolds. Life is seeded. Life begins. The journey reveals itself in its own timing. The dance of life force with all that it encounters is choreographed in the inspiration of each moment. The gestation and labor of creating the self anew comes to fruition. The blooming is at hand, and I wonder, does it hurt? Are there blooming pains like labor pains? The blooming being must trust the process, let go of control, embrace the unknown moment, and ultimately bloom. Bloom kabloom, yada 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 bloom kabloom. Aha! I crack myself up sometimes. And Anyway, in order to reveal the authentic self, we must be rebloomed over and over. This requires releasing old, worn-out beliefs and the image of ourself that we carry from our parents, from our history, and through all of our many experiences. Cultivating the self consciously and willingly can be a most joyous and rewarding process. It's the resistance, I believe, that brings the pain. So the more we can step through our resistance, the less pain and the more enjoyment there is. If we can remember to surrender to nature, we can soften the process of cultivation. If you believe that you must work hard and suffer and struggle to become authentic, to cultivate, or to be spiritual, you will most likely have a struggling kind of experience. But can you simply surrender into each moment? Can you actually accept and embrace your process? Can you get there just as easily by enjoying yourself? I have been told that there was a long time ago, once upon a time, there was a guru who found enlightenment through extreme debauchery. That's partying to you young whippersnappers. The trick was making it conscious debauchery. I believe he laughed his way into enlightenment, but that's a story for another day. Now, Tattooed Buddhist would like to lead you in a guided movement. So, just sit back, get comfortable, and just listen, and let your imagination take part, trust and flow, and be willing to have something revealed to you from deep inside yourself. We're going to work on blooming your next self. Imagine that you are nothing more than a seed, a possibility rolled into a little hard shell. Imagine that you know nothing of what you will become, but there is some knowing within you. It is a knowing that you will become. Now this you, this seed, must be planted. So let yourself feel the sensation of being placed deep within the soil of your life. Let the silence and aloneness of being covered with dark, moist, nurturing soil embrace you. Rest. Wait. Be. There is nothing more to be done. After a time, you feel a stirring. You feel a tightening against your encasement. As your awareness increases, so does the pressure, and eventually a little part of you breaks out and into the damp, fertile soil. Slowly, a sense of light penetrates to your level. You are attracted and then irresistibly drawn to the light. There is so much weight and muck, stones and other detritus in your way that you're not sure you can get there. But you will not be deterred, and you fight your way up, ever up into the light. Finally, tender and vulnerable, you poke your head through the final layer, and you climb up and into the light. Suddenly you feel the air on your skin and the light on your face, and you realize that you're vulnerable and no longer safely protected in the depths of the soil. You begin to drink in every drop of light and water and nourishment that you can get. You know you must become strong and have energy enough to grow up through all of your phases and cycles. You grow tall in your stem or your core. You branch off in many directions. You form leaves to gain more nourishment to support your expanded form. And after a long cycle of growth, development, and cultivation, you begin to develop these budding forms, which grow in many places and all seem to be ready to become something wonderful. Finally, you arrive at your great moment. You are a tightly packed bud, ready to open to the world. How do you know the exact moment to open? What is the final message that you receive? That now is the time. Lift your face to the light. Receive the messages on the air. Allow the warmth-laden moisture to penetrate you from root to tip. Suddenly and without resistance, you begin to unfurl. You open, you reveal. Here in all of your glory, you open wide, no holding back, revealing your true self for all to see. Picture this moment. Feel the sensation of unconditional revelation. Open wide and vast and experience what it means to be seen, truly seen. Can you see yourself at this moment? Can you see an image of what you have become? Listen closely. Do you hear yourself singing? Do you have a scent or a sound or a texture? Gaze upon yourself in awe and gratitude. Feel the wondrous miracle that you are. Now, do you want to harvest this bloom and bring it back with you? Is it time to stay on the vine and go to seed so that you may begin again? Or would you rather dive deep back in the earth, into the nourishing dirt, the soil from which you came, and return and become food and nourishment for your next growing cycle? Feel the rightness and the fulfillment and the satisfaction of this completion of the cycle of nature, the completion of birth, cultivation, blooming, gleaning, and moving into the next cycle. Allow yourself to be fully satisfied. Feel your completeness. Hold yourself in awe of what you have done, of what you've become. Understand the magnificence of you. All right now. Breathe and begin to let yourself return into this moment. Breathe and let yourself become aware of who you are and where you are. Breathe and become aware of the present moment, your surroundings. Breathe and return. Breathe and return. Breathe and return. When you're ready, open your eyes and be completely back in this moment. Well, folks, I think that this is enough for now. Check back for a new conscious conversation soon. This is Deb Paradise signing off. I am the Tattooed Buddhist. Thank you for letting me enlighten your day.